$5. Mia whispered under her breath, staring at the single bill lying on the $1,200 check. Her fingers trembled not from anger, but from the sting of something deeper. Across the table, billionaire Alistair Vane didn't look up. His eyes were cold, calculating, like a man searching for something he couldn't name. His son smirked. "Looks like someone's not worth more than a coffee, huh?" The restaurant fell silent. Crystal glasses froze midair. The kind of silence that crushes a person's pride. Mia swallowed hard, her chest tight, every instinct screaming to walk away. But instead she looked up right at him. "Sir," she said quietly, "did you mean to leave this, or was it a mistake?" That question, soft but sharp, cut through the air like a blade. In that moment, the dying billionaire who thought he was testing her didn't realize he was the one being tested, and that her answer would cost his children an empire. Don't miss what happens next. Like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for stories that prove integrity can change everything. The restaurant had never been this silent. Forks froze halfway to lips. Even the jazz band faltered when Mia's voice broke the air. "Sir, did you mean to leave this, or was it a mistake?" Alistair Vane looked up slowly, the weight of his billion-dollar stare falling on the woman who just dared to question him. The chandelier light carved harsh angles across his face. His son, Julian, leaned back in his chair, smirking. "She's lucky you left anything at all," he said. "People like her should be grateful for $5. Mia's eyes flicked toward him, steady, sharp. "People like me?" she asked quietly. Julian chuckled. "Waitresses. Invisible. Replaceable." The word hung in the air, thick as smoke. For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then Mia did something that none of them expected. She smiled, softly, sadly. "Thank you for clarifying," she said, taking the check. "I'll make sure the payment's handled properly." When she turned away, the billionaire's gaze followed her. Beneath the fatigue etched into her face, he saw something he hadn't seen in years. Calm defiance. He didn't know that her rent was 3 weeks late, or that she'd spent the morning feeding her brother through a hospital tube. He only saw a woman refusing to break under the weight of insult. 2 minutes later, Mia returned. She placed the black folder gently on the table. Her voice was quiet but unwavering. "Mr. Vane, thank you for your payment. But before I process this, are you feeling well tonight?" Julian barked a laugh. "What kind of question is that?" Mia ignored him. Her eyes stayed on Alistair's face. "You look flushed. And you left your card with a $5 bill. That's unusual. Sometimes confusion or sudden generosity can be a sign of a medical episode. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." The table went stone still. The billionaire blinked. He had been lightheaded earlier. His doctor had warned him about tiny strokes. But no one, not even his family, had noticed. Julian slammed his fist lightly against the table. "You're out of line." Mia's voice sharpened. "Better that than out of conscience." For the first time in decades, Alistair Vane didn't have an answer. Her calm had disarmed him more than any boardroom ambush. When she refused the tip, returning both card and cash, something inside him shifted. That night he couldn't sleep. His empire towered outside his window like a glittering cage. His children's voices echoed in his mind. Greedy, hollow. And then hers. "Your test tells me more about your character than my reaction will ever tell you about mine." At 3 a.m., he called Marcus Thorne, the only man he trusted. "Find her," he said. "Find everything." By morning the report lay on his desk. Mia Sanchez, 28, former medical student, dropped out to care for her brother, Leo, terminal heart condition. 2 jobs. 1 lawsuit against an insurance company that had denied treatment. And then Alistair saw the company letterhead. Vane Health Assurance. His own subsidiary. His own son's signature on the denial. The old man's hands shook. The cruelty wasn't just in his children. It was systemic, built into the empire he'd created. And the woman who'd stood up to him was its victim. He called Marcus again. Arrange my admission to Hillside Senior Care. Under a false name. Sir. I need to see the world my company built, through her eyes. By noon the billionaire was gone. In his place, an old man named Albert Vane was wheeled into a Medicaid nursing home that smelled of bleach and hopelessness. The halls buzzed with flickering lights and quiet despair. And there, just before lunch, Mia appeared in blue scrubs, exhausted but smiling. Good morning, Mr. Al, she said gently. I'll be taking care of you today. He watched her work. The way she lifted frail hands, the way she spoke to each patient as if they still mattered. When she reached his bed, her tone softened. You remind me of my brother, she said quietly. He used to pretend he wasn't sick too. Her words pierced him deeper than any diagnosis. Hours later, chaos erupted. Nurse Davis had left a cup of pills on his tray. Mia frowned. This blue one, this isn't right. She checked the chart, her brow furrowed. You're allergic to penicillin. This is amoxicillin. Who authorized this? Davis scoffed. Don't question me, sweetheart. Mia's voice dropped to steel. You were about to kill him. She pressed the emergency call. Head nurse. Now. The confrontation drew a crowd. Within minutes, the head nurse arrived. Mia laid out the evidence. Wrong dosage, wrong medication, wrong patient ID. The room spun with tension until Davis stammered. It was a mix-up. No, Mia said. It was neglect. When it was over, Davis was suspended. Alistair was alive because of her. He looked at her with a mixture of guilt and awe. You saved me, he whispered. She smiled faintly. Just doing my job, Mr. Al. But when she looked closer, at his hands, too manicured for a poor man, at the gold glint of a watch under his sleeve, something clicked. Wait, she said slowly. Your eyes. I've seen them before. Her breath caught. You're Alistair Vane. The disguise crumbled. He sat up straighter, voice low. Yes. And it seems I owe you my life. Her shock turned to fury. You followed me here. What is this, another test? No. This time it's redemption. He told her everything. The illness, the corruption, the discovery that his company had denied her brother's treatment. She trembled, torn between rage and disbelief. You built the system that's killing him. And I'm going to destroy it, he said. With your help. That night, in his penthouse, he signed orders transferring her brother to Mount Sinai under the best specialist in the country. Your fight is over, he said softly. Now fight mine. From that moment the story changed shape. Mia traded aprons for power suits. Mornings were lessons in finance. Afternoons in law. Nights in the ruthless art of survival. Alistair's voice became her compass. Empires don't fall by mercy. They fall by precision. She learned quickly. She discovered how Julian had siphoned funds through shell companies, how Serafina used charity events to launder personal expenses. Each revelation hardened her resolve. Still, doubt haunted her. In quiet moments she'd whisper, I'm a waitress, not a warrior. Alistair would answer, integrity is war. And you're winning it. Weeks passed. The billionaire's health declined, but his mind blazed brighter. Their bond deepened. Two souls from opposite worlds, united by conscience. He made her promise to finish what he started. Burn the rot, he said one night, voice rasping. And when they come for you, don't flinch. When Alistair Vane died, the world mourned a titan. His children saw headlines and dollar signs. They paraded through interviews, pretending grief. Behind their smiles, the lawyers sharpened their knives. Then came the will reading. The conference room atop Vane Tech Tower gleamed with black marble and arrogance. Julian lounged in his father's chair, whispering to Serafina. Finally, Mr. Harrison, the old lawyer, cleared his throat. We're waiting for one more beneficiary. Who? Julian sneered. The gardener. The doors opened. Marcus entered. Behind him walked Mia, poised, composed, dressed in gray tailored silk. Every eye turned. The air tightened. Julian's smirk vanished. "You," he hissed. "The waitress." Mia set her briefcase on the table. "Dr. Sanchez, actually." Harrison unfolded the will. His monotone voice sliced through the room. Art collections to Serafina, penthouse to Julian, $20 million trust funds each. They shifted uncomfortably. Then came the line that shattered everything. "The entirety of my controlling interest, 51% of Vaintech, shall be transferred to the Leo Sanchez Medical Innovation Fund, chaired by Dr. Mia Sanchez." Julian exploded. "This is fraud." Mia rose slowly. "It's justice." Serafina's pearls rattled against the table. "You manipulated a dying man." Mia opened the briefcase, sliding out certification letters and psychiatric reports. 3 medical boards confirmed his competence until his final day. He knew exactly what he was doing. Julian lunged, but Marcus caught him by the collar, forcing him back into his chair. The board members whispered nervously as Mia walked to the head of the table, the same seat Julian had claimed. Her voice carried with surgical precision. "My first act as controlling shareholder, the removal of Julian Vane for gross misconduct." She raised her hand. "All in favor." Her 51% was enough. "The motion passes." Julian's face went crimson. "You can't fire me from my own company." "I just did." Serafina stood, trembling. "You'll regret this. We'll sue." Mia's tone remained calm. "Then I'll see you in court, using your father's lawyers. The same ones who certified him sane." Every camera in the room caught the moment Julian Vane, once the heir to an empire, was escorted out by security, shouting threats that echoed down the corridor. Outside, reporters swarmed. "Dr. Sanchez, did you expect to inherit Vaintech?" Mia paused beneath the marble archway, the city wind lifting her hair. "I didn't inherit it," she said. "I earned it." Inside the boardroom, silence settled like dust. Serafina slumped in her chair, stripped of titles and illusions. Across the table, executives watched the new chairwoman take her father's empire and rewire it from within. Mia turned to the board. "Effective immediately, Vane Health Assurance will be restructured. Every denied claim under my predecessor will be reviewed and repaid. The system that profits from suffering ends today." Applause broke hesitantly, then grew. For the first time in years, hope filled those walls. That night, she returned to the penthouse office, the same one where Alistair had once sat, staring down at the city that had worshipped and feared him. On his desk, framed beneath glass, lay a single crisp $5 bill. She touched it gently. Behind her, Marcus stepped in. "They're gone," he said. "Both of them." Security escorted them out. "The board stands with you." "Good," Mia whispered. "Let them live with what they did. Money's easy to lose. Integrity isn't." Down on the street, cameras flashed as Julian's limousine door slammed. Reporters shouted his name, demanding answers. The man who once laughed at a waitress now hid his face behind tinted glass. The city that once bowed to him now whispered. He lost everything to $5. Mia looked out the window. For a moment, her reflection merged with the skyline. One story ending, another beginning. Somewhere far below, sirens wailed. Somewhere above, the world turned quietly toward morning. The empire had fallen, but not into ruin, into justice. And this was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, the world began to change. Quietly, almost shyly, under Mia's steady hands. The headlines faded, the chaos cooled, but her purpose never did. Each morning she passed that framed $5 bill, now sun-bleached by the window light, and it reminded her where it all began. One small moment of choice between pride and anger, and choosing truth instead. She no longer saw herself as the waitress who was tested, but as the woman who turned a cruel trick into a turning point. The empire she inherited wasn't about money anymore. It was about rebuilding fairness where arrogance once ruled. When her brother laughed again for the first time, free of machines and pain, she finally understood what Alistair had meant about legacy. It isn't written in marble. It's written in people. The city skyline glimmered outside her office as she whispered, "We did it, Mr. Vane." Then she turned off the lights and walked out, leaving that single $5 bill glowing faintly in the dark, proof that integrity can rewrite the world. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales, because true stories deserve to be heard.